Welcome to today's section on our road to penetration testing. So you want to become professional, you keep flying through the road of penetration testing, whichever way you feel is best for you. Today we'll be talking about host-based attacks, and we'll focus on the window aspect. This is the part one. We'll continue to the next phase after this video. We have the part two coming up later. So we'll focus on Windows today. So this is what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about the introduction to host-based attacks, Windows vulnerability, and frequently exploited vulnerabilities. And we'll perform a practical demonstration of how you can exploit the one of the vulnerabilities we have on Windows, which is the WebDAV vulnerability. And in course of the video, we'll talk about WebDAV and what it does or what it's capable of doing. Then we talk about tools that is being used to perform this practical demonstration. So without any further ado, let's continue. What exactly is a host-based attack? Host-based attack are attacks that are attack that targeted towards or a operating system running on Windows or Linux, the ports, maybe the network services, a whole lot of thing related to that particular host. Maybe it's Linux host or is a Windows host, workstation, laptops, internal network. So there are different attacks that could go through it. Maybe they want to gain an attacker can come in to try to gain initial access into the system, and we continue to do a persistence threat on those systems, or we keep it safe, perform lateral movement, can do a whole lot of things when it comes to unauthorized having access to when you're not an authorized person and you privileged to gain access into an environment. So many things you could do, and these are relatively based on the vulnerabilities that is tied to that particular system, maybe Windows or Linux. But as I said earlier, we'll focus on the Windows aspect. So these are Windows vulnerabilities that we tend to encounter day in, day out. Even though Windows keep updating, they keep updating their operating system, they keep updating, bringing in different kind of countermeasures and mitigations. While irrespective, they still have ones that are really vulnerable to attack. One, we have information disclosure. On Windows, we have information disclosure that allow attackers to have access to confidential data, data like maybe customers' information, maybe people, maybe even stakeholders' information, generally information that are not meant for the public, you know. And talk about these are programming errors. Windows operating system are basically written in C languages. They are prone to buffer overflow, where the errors that can rewrite the data in buffer that can override, that can reallocate a whole lot of, irregularities an attacker can perform through buffer overflows. We also have remote code execution. Remote code execution when you can remotely execute execute a code even when you are not physically present or when you don't have a physical access to the victim system. In Windows you can remotely execute so many ways. Can launch any command line, try and run some codes through PowerShell remotely. And this is a vulnerability that it has been severe over time. If I have access to, if I'm able to run a remote code execution, what code am I running? Maybe I was able to run a malware, or I was able to run a ransomware. That would definitely be a disaster for the company or for the system user, for the administrator in general. Maybe anybody could be the administrator at that moment. So can really be then privilege escalation. Privileges we give the rights, or privilege we give users. Maybe we give the right for a user to be able to read only, or there are users that have the privilege to read write, and there are users that uh, probably they are given the right to read write and execute, like the admin. So if a victim account is being compromised, it is very possible for privilege escalation to happen where a common user can become the admin if if proper mitigations are not yet done or are being overlooked. So these are vulnerabilities that we found that are relatively uh, bind to Windows itself. So let's keep going. Let's keep diving in. So what are the frequently exploited vulnerability on Windows? We have the Microsoft, that is the Microsoft um, server, which is developed by Microsoft. It's proprietary web server where you can use to host your web applications and all. So we have that are trying to this feature allows us to delete, manipulate, edit, the client to be able to edit information, edit files, and do a lot of things over the web, you know. And this WebDAV, we'll talk more about it later because we'll try and proceed to how we can exploit this particular vulnerability on Windows. We have a tutorial video on our channel that talks about SMB. And what SMB does is network file sharing. Over the network, you can share files. You can connect to your printer, send messages to your printer, and a lot more that you can do with SMB. And it runs on port 445. All this has their own port, which they run on. We have the RDP for remote access protocol. It was also developed by Microsoft. You can remotely authenticate users. You can remotely upload files, different scenarios like that. That is what we use the RDP for. Have the win we can when you can remotely manage protocols. So these are the frequently exploited vulnerabilities with respect to Windows. As for Linux, we should be talking about much more later in our other videos. So this is the work of what do we want to do? We want to exploit it. But before you exploit a particular vulnerability, before you perform any exploitation, you should have idea of what you are exploiting, what information do you want to derive from what you want to exploit. And when you're exploiting, yeah, you need a peripheral or a full detailed information of the particular protocol or the particular service you want to exploit, so that as a penetration tester, you will actually be able to know the flaws of these services and how to mitigate them against attackers and against your anybody coming as an authorized personnel. So for the web dev, it enables web server to function as file server, runs on Microsoft eyes on port 443 as HTTPS and for HTTP on port 80. So when you provide legitimate credential, you'll be able to log in, authenticate, and stuff like that. So what are we going to do? We are today we'll try and exploit. We have a lab we will use, and we'll dive into. These are the tools we will be using that we will use over time when it comes to exploitation. We might not use the old tools today, but we are going to use this tool as we go in our tutorials. So let's dive into the practical demonstration of how we can exploit the WebDAV of one of the vulnerability found on Windows. So we'll start by using Nmap. And what we are doing with Nmap is that we want to perform this. When we perform service scan, we know the services that are running and the version of these services that are running. So this is what we need. One running on port 80. And this is a Microsoft IS, the one we talked about earlier. And our show is using WebDAV. Yes, let's see. Let's enumerate by using the script HTTP enum, and we are specifying the port number we are trying to send these echo requests to. And let's see. Yes, we can actually see that it's using a WebDAV and it's saying unauthorized access. But irrespective, we need to exploit. We don't need to be juicy to be able to exploit. So what next? We have DAF test, we have cadaver, which we'll all be using. So which one are we going to use first? Let's try and use that. So you can have information of what DAF test can do, and this is it. So we'll be using DAF test with the credentials that we are being given to be able to authenticate and be able to have access. In cases where we don't have credentials, we'll try and we'll definitely use Hydra for a brute force attack to get needed login and password or username and password. But in this case, we are provided with one and we'll be using it. Yes, so we'll try and authenticate. This is DAV test, and this is the command we'll be using, the argument, and this is credentials that have been given, and the URL, HTTP, then the IP address with the directory of the web draft. And here we go. So it's run the scan and tried which one is able to execute no ASPN, CGI, but we're able to see that HTML was successful and the directory is this. So how are we going to exploit this directory? We are going to try and use cadaver in this case. So we're using cadaver and we IP address and the directory of WebDAV. So it's saying authentication required. We have Bob as the credential provided. Then we have password. Let's go 201 if I'm correct. Oh, I'm not sure that is correct. Let me get the correct credentials. And K. So let's go. Bob password. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 3, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we are in. Let's go. That's just a domain account. If you're wondering why am I spelling the password, it's just a domain account, just for a test purpose to be able to show you how exploitation on WebDAV is being done. So we're in can list. No, we have access. We can upload any file, do whatever we want to. So in this case, we want to upload a particular ASP file. So we've uploaded it. That same file which contains the backdoor that we'll be using for this exploitation, and we've successfully uploaded it. So in the real sense, let's go to our browser and do this again. So we'll log into our website using the IP address, the WebDAV, and the shell we've uploaded, and we'll log in with the credentials that we were able to use. Password. Let's go 1, 2, 3. So something is wrong. Let's see if we have the correct one now. Yes, I think we do. So you can log in, can do list, you can do IP config. No, we already have access, we've exploited, can have information that we all needed. Can do directory to a particular file. Yes. So this is how we exploit. This is how we exploit WebDAV in the real sense. So we already have access to that particular services, and all the informations, you can upload, you can delete, you can continue to have different ways of keep your exploitation moving. But to stop at this point today, in our next video, we'll continue how to exploit other vulnerabilities on Windows before we now move to Linux. So that is our practical demonstration, and I'm very sure you enjoyed it. Can please subscribe, follow, and we'll keep dropping relatable packages for you, and keep up scaling your learning. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.